Yo, we are live. We are so live. Uh, I wanted to say welcome. Sorry, I'm just sending an email real quick um, and waiting for Mark to join. So that'll be fun. I hope your week is going well. And for all of those that will eventually watch this, I hope that your day is going amazing. So I've been mulling over sort of what to work on today and during the live stream. I have a few options. I've reached out to a few people and a couple responded. Um, but one of those things that I wanted to touch on was the future of AI, right? This is the world that we live in. There he is. There's the man. Mark,
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. A little echoey, but you're good.
Nice.
So
Sorry about the echo. It's probably this room I'm in.
you're fine, man. How's everything going? Happy 2025. Thanks for joining.
Happy 2025. Crazy.
It's wild.
I just
We're a
wrote down
quarter of a century.
2025 for the first time like a week ago.
Yeah, yeah. You're writing, which is so not 2025, you know?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. I was,
I'm kidding. It's so good for the brain, right? My wife was saying that there's something that happens when we actually write stuff down, you know?
yeah.
I've been trying to journal, but I journal digitally just because it's easier for me, you know, and it's like, okay,
Quick.
this is the goal, right? Journal your thoughts, journal my thoughts,
Yeah.
journal my experience, you know? It's like set realistic expectations. And I'm not going to be able to find my journal at all times, write in it in the dark, you know, which is sometimes I'll be in bed at night, you know, journaling on my phone. Um, Not always the case, but I can also speak to my notes and, mark my journaling that way, which is really nice. So,
Well, I'm impressed
yeah,
that you actually journal, man.
yeah, yeah. I did it a lot with writing in like an actual notebook back in high school and college. I mean, I have
Wow.
notebooks and notebooks on it.
You ever read
For
them?
school. No, but I need to. I need to. I did it mostly like around devotionals or around what
Yeah.
I was reading in the morning, what I thought about outlook for my spiritual life was, etc. But yeah, dude. So before you joined, I was talking about. Uh, I've had a few conversations this week with clients and then also just with like other peers. And some of them have been centered around AI or, what's the future of software development? And so I
Yeah.
wanted to touch on that just a little bit, my thoughts, right? I'm not going to touch, I'm not an expert on it, but I'm experienced, let's say. I have some, I have some industry related thoughts, that could, they're meaningful. So I think that, you know, what's the best platform to build apps in? Well, that totally depends on your skill level and who you are as a person, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're a team, whether you're an agency or a freelancer, whether you are, a mom and pop, you can use AI to expedite the coding process or the software development process 100%. The problem with AI currently is context, right? The lack of understanding around context. So I've seen a lot of people trying to develop stuff with V0 and Replit. And these are great tools. They can get you really far if you understand software development principles. They can get you pretty far. You can ask things, you can, hey, this code doesn't look good. Knowledge is power in everything, even in the use of AI, right? You can't be an ignorant person and try to get something that's polished, refined, and workable, right? But then also the bugs, right? You're always going to face bugs. You're always going to face problems with code. And if you have no clue how to fix those things, you're going to be stuck for days, right? This is not unique to AI. I do this as well in FlutterFlow, right? Because there's code involved in visual development. So I get stuck. Thankfully, I have an agency that has a team of developers that can help me. So um, that's the whole thing. Right now, we're working on a pretty large project, and that client just asked me. He's like, are you still bullish on FlutterFlow, or do you think we should switch this to AI development?" And I was like, man, in all honesty, it's all about the management of the system in the product development cycle, right? We have to manage systems. You're always going to iterate. Kareem, thanks for joining, man. So yeah, you're always going to have to manage systems. You're always going to have to iterate. You're always going to have to improve. If you can do that with an AI agent, once you can do that, then yeah, for sure, make that your CTO. But until that happens, also collaboration, right? You work in a silo in most of these AI tools, and you work on a limit of tokens. The thing I love about FlutterFlow, especially for mobile development, but also just general product development. Mark and I are working on a product right now from the ground up, working with the client, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Just thinking about what we can implement, how we can implement it. We'll implement AI in it, I think, in one way or another. It'll be super cool. But really, your goal in utilizing AI or your conversation around AI should be how to leverage it, not how to rely on it. It's pretty good, right? Leverage it, not rely on it. Okay. So AI can help you exactly. It can help you write code for specific things, and FlutterFlow allows you to do this. I haven't written a line of code in my 4 years, 2025. My 4 years of building in FlutterFlow, I have not written a line of code. Period. I've worked on 100 projects.
That's impressive, man.
Yeah, because I use their FF, Copilot. I just say, hey, this is what I want, this is what I need. Using it within the context of a framework for specific tasks is great, right? Like last week I showed to you how you can tag users after an @ sign in an input, right? That was all done with prompts. It was not done by me, it was not written by me. But I had AI help me with that. I specified what I needed. It was one feature. It's not a product, right? It's one feature. We worked on it, we refined it, and we implemented it. And then I understood how it worked. So then I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's not. It's working on. It's working on only, after I have an @ sign in the input. It's always bringing up that modal. I want it to just do it after the @ sign. Little things like that. So utilize it, leverage it, but don't rely on it. And then also think about the system, right? Every product has a design system. Every product has specific components and specific elements that are unique to the application. Also, you're building things for a specific target market, right? A specific audience. And AI just doesn't always understand that. They just don't. I have not found an agent yet that truly understands the context of what you are actually building, right? You have to prompt it and refresh its memory so often. It's like, dude, yes, it empowers you if you don't know how to code. Yeah, it's easier than learning how to code. But tools like FlutterFlow and others are extremely valuable in the sense that you can get very far in UI building and logic building. And there's really good tutorials now out that will help you get a lot further. And utilizing Flutter, I think, is super beneficial because you get to deploy to 3 platforms. So those are my quick thoughts on FlutterFlow, AI, utilization, and product development going forward. So
it's so true though. I mean, even what you said about knowing the context.
Yep.
Andrew, you know this on the project that I was working on,
Yeah.
to use AI to help me with some code, just bit me in the butt because I didn't know the context.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
exactly. And you could think like, oh yeah, it works. And it's like, no, it doesn't. It's not working like it should, right? AI is extremely good. And this comes from Alex, the CTO of FlutterFlow back in the day, right? When I hung out with him in the New York office. And he was like, yeah, it's like extremely easy for AI to fool you into thinking it knows what it's talking about, but it doesn't. It doesn't understand that unique context, right? It understands maybe the general thing, but it doesn't understand what you're actually saying. And so you really need to know code itself in order to debug that. And so if you are a brilliant developer like Alex, you can utilize it to optimize your work or to make you a little more efficient. But I don't know if it's going to create things out of thin air. I don't think we're there yet. So, okay, I asked, what we should build. I got a few feedbacks. Kareem commented he wants to work on he wants to know how to use the Markdown widget. And in all honesty, Kareem, the Markdown widget in FlutterFlow sucks. Sorry, it's sort of terrible. It takes in text, but there's no way to style that text. And since I'm a designer, I'll never use it because I want the ability to select the text style that it uses. If we had that, right, the Markdown widget would be great because then you could have a rich text editor. That rich text editor could take in headers and bold font and italics and lists and block quotes and everything. And the Markdown widget would, in fact, display that information. We don't have a rich text editor in FlutterFlow out of the box. There's a couple that are in the marketplace. I would like to check out, but again, I'm probably going to utilize a custom widget for that Markdown just so that I can bring in my typography that is in my project. But there's another widget that is sort of like trendy or popular, but I've never found. There's plenty of use cases for it. I've never found the implementation I need. Yeah, I've never found the implementation I actually need in order to make it work. And that is the Swipable Stack, right? Sick. It's a sick widget. I mean, come on, Tinder like, blah, blah, blah. But there's just like, when it first came out, there was a way to make it work in one way, which was like you could view all of the data. You could feed in a backend query and you could view all that data, but it couldn't like update data. So you couldn't be like, it would just always either loop or it would always show you the data from that query, right? So what we need to do is we need to interact with the data, right? Swipe right. Maybe we save an article or save a verse, or I'm gonna practice on the project that we're working on, Mark, and I'm gonna bring up my screen.
Come on.
So this is it's a religious/spiritual application, right? It's to encourage people of a certain faith background to interact with scripture and interact with friends, hopefully, right? Community-based is the goal. Hopefully, we're gonna try to get there. But there's this concept, there's like a daily verse or a daily scripture or like this daily, let's just say encouragement, right? For those of you that are not familiar with those terms, let's just say a daily snippet of encouragement, okay? And so it's gonna come in from the back end, and in this concept, I'm going to have a swipeable stack because I'm gonna have multiple. I'm just gonna feed in multiple, and I'm gonna share my screen, sorry. Window, I'll do my entire screen. All right, so here it is. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm starting up my simulator. Starting up my simulator. And the goal would be that I have a back end with like highlighted verses. So these highlighted verses, they're just you can do this with any collection, right? Yeah, any collection. Mine has a chapter, verse, content, a category. The book is actually supposed to be up here. It's book, chapter, verse. And then I have some other metadata. And then another thing that we're going to probably need here, because we need some way of filtering this data out of our view, okay? So I'm going to feed the verses here into this swipeable stack, or maybe I'll do it on this container. I'm going to say, hey, query collection, highlighted verses. I want a list of documents, right? I'll say like 20, and then I want to filter, but there's nothing to filter on right now. So for right now, we won't do a filter. We'll just see if we get these verses and we'll interact with them. I'll do a single time query. We did 20. We'll do that. Okay. And then these, I'm going to remove this. I don't need this image here. I'm going to expand that text. Yeah. Oh my, this is in a row. See this element? So give me a second. This is so old. Remove, remove, remove. Implement best practices everywhere you can. We are going to do that by removing all this and adding the padding to this here. So we're going to do 12. We're just going to actually do unified 12. That's what we're going to do. All right. So we have component parameters right here. They're just actions that are linked to these buttons. We also need, in this case, we're going to pass in a document, right? Verse doc, and it's going to be this. Ally verses required, yes. And that's going to give us the ability to put connect our data here. So first doc, get property document. We're going to say book Genesis. And this will be our chapter. So I'm going to do a combined text. Oop. Chapter. And we'll do verse doc, get property document, chapter, say 0. And then that, and then we'll do a verse here. I'm just going to copy and paste this over here. Verse. Perfect. And then this will be that verse. So I'm going to actually increase the font size, and we're going to do auto size 12 pixels, left aligned, italic. I'm going to add quotations on either side. So I'm going to actually combine text here as well. So combine. I'm going to say apostrophe or quotation, verse doc, which we can paste. This will be the content there. No verse. Display value, and then our in quotation right there. Sick. All right. Now let's come back here, and on this swipeable stack, we're going to say verse query. All right. I need to remove those. I'm also going to actually I'm going to save a version of this. Okay. Kareem, Mark just alerted me to your last comment. I apologize. I will tell you how I style things. Long text in an article in Nocode UI. I do this, and I've been using data types, so they're really, really cool. But go ahead. We're gonna feed in this. We're gonna say new verses. And we're gonna do that. Perfect. All right. So now we can say verse doc, new verse item. A unique key will be the ID. Perfect. Update page on changes. Okay. I'm going to hot reload this thing. And this is my little guy. So we're going to continue as guest. There you go. This is our articles. This should update, and we should see verses now. Oh, nice. Okay. John, I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace in this world. You have trouble, but take heart. I've overcome the world. Very good verse. Now I want to be able to remove this, right? Here I have actions: remove, two are better than one, live in harmony. we can actually just go through here, but we're going to actually get back to that. We're going to get back to that verse that we had first. So Psalm, Deuteronomy, Corinthians, Hebrews, John. I've told you these things so you can overcome the world, because we haven't actually done anything. These swipes don't matter. They're not linked to anything. So how can we filter this data down? Because essentially, I want to say, hey, I've seen this verse, right? And you can do this in anything. Like I said, Tinder, like interactions, you can do. And every time we come back to this page, we're getting this data. So how can we remove this data so it's unique every single time? We're gonna find out. That's the fun thing about this. We're gonna decide how we're gonna do this. The way I'm thinking about it is creating saved verses, right? We have saved verses somewhere, and those things can actually go here, right? We'll like this will be our saved verses, maybe our folders. We'll have like saved verses here instead. This is what we did last week, Mark. You didn't join, so you didn't see, but we can like delete things. Pretty cool. Yeah, I know. It is pretty cool. So, but yeah, I want to basically save these things and no longer show them. So on the query, we're gonna have to do a couple things. Either on this query, we're gonna have to have a list of highlighted verses, right? We're gonna say that we have shown this to you, or we're gonna have another collection where we have a user. See, this is where backend stuff. This is how I think. I'm not going to put any names on it, but this is how I think our developers would do it, like specific data to users. Because what I like, you may not like, Mark. What you like, I may not like. So I want this to be truly unique to me, but we're gaining this from a specific, highlighted verses and probably saved verses. So let's go ahead and create a saved verses collection. Saved verses. And we're going to say, start from scratch. We're going to say user ref. Okay. Document reference, user, and saved versus document IDs. So we're going to have a list of documents here. Yeah, we're going to have a list of highlighted verses. So we're going to say all saved verses. Okay. Document reference, highlighted verses is list. Okay. There you go. Now you probably want to do a sub collection of this or whatever, but I'm going to do it this way and we'll see. These verses are not heavy, right? They're very lightweight. So even if you have 200, 500, 800 verses, this would work. But you could also do this as a single one, I think, and then you could query. You just have to query every single time. Okay, that's the first. This is the first one. Second, we want to query those verses, those like saved verses somewhere. So we can do this on the page, or we could do this on an action, which we'll do the action. And we'll say query collection, saved verses, single document. We'll filter user ref equal to authenticated user. Okay. And we'll say that this is my saved verses. Okay. Now, my saved verses, I'll try to name my actions. So this one is just like hiding gradient. Okay. Now this query, now we can set that filter, but what we need to do here is on swipe right or on the approve, which we don't need the approve and skip, right? We could just do the swipe, but let's just say Swipable Stack. We're going to have an action here. So on page swipe right, okay, action. We're going to update. Well, here, we actually need to do this conditional. Okay. Because we don't have, right now, we don't have a saved versus collection for me as a user, right? We don't have that. So what we need to do is we need to say condition. Actually, maybe if we have an action output exists, right? Saved versus reference. No, we don't. Okay, so we'll do a condition first. We'll say action output reference is set, because it may not be set. Then we're going to add verse to save. Okay, and if not, we're going to create document, save verses, user reference, authenticated user, all saved verses. Yep. We're going to add to list, add first item, the verse item reference. Let's see. Current, sorry. Yeah. Current index. Get property document reference. Okay. Added verse. Sweet. Okay, so we're going to create the document and then we're going to add the first verse. Okay, and then here, if it does exist, we're going to update that document. My saved verses reference update, and we're just going to, not going to do the user ref, we're going to add to set, and then again, new verse reference, current index, get property document reference. Okay, cool. All right, so this is determine if collection, if save versus exists. Okay, conditional action, add verse to save. So yeah, create saved verses and add. Don't have random capitals. Okay. All right, and then on this little guy, either here or here, trying to think. I think we can do it on the filter itself. So here we can now filter this document. Let's see. No, we'll do it. Okay, we'll do it on the. We'll do it here. Okay. Dynamic ones. All right, filter lists. So filter list items, condition, item in lists, doc reference, not equal to, oh, you know what? Yeah, no, this is it. We're going to say action output. My saved verses, all saved verses, list contains item. Yep, item in list. I think we can just do this one. Oh yeah, item in list and then this. Get property document, reference. All right, and then this is actually the condition we need. So that's what we'll do. We'll just paste that here. You videos, because that suck. A determined polar bear. That's a good one. We do have some older ones. And we want to make sure. sorry, this list contains item, apply opposite. So what that's doing is, or what this should be doing, we'll see. When you add an item to your saved verses, it should remove it from here. So we should no longer see it from here. And we said, hey, look, if my saved verses contains the current verse, then apply opposite statement, right? List contains item, reference. Don't do this. Don't show this. Okay, there you go. And we will also, on this Swipable stack, just so that we know if we actually do this, this will be blocking, and we'll show a snack bar here. Actually, we can do it down here and say, hey, we have saved your verse. A determined polar bear, we will talk about this. Responsive. There's some past live streams that you can watch of ours that we cover this on. But we'll try to do, yeah, we actually did a recent one in December, I think. No, not December. We didn't do anything in December. In November, October or November, we did one on the Flex widget and how to design a responsive dashboard with the Flex widget. That's the one I would recommend to you. So yeah, if you do that, go ahead and okay, there you go. Show show success. If you haven't watched that yet, go and watch it. I think it's the best one, or it's the best one for me. There's a bunch of older ones, but they're older. So okay, let's go ahead and see if this actually works. It may not, and we may have to, update this, but if it does, it'll be cool. And then we can start moving this, after we get this. Okay. All right, so we're getting a null value somehow. Let's see, move next, where to, match array, growable list. Interesting, okay. Let's see, maybe we need to do like, no further changes, map list items, item list. We'll see. Oh, we are not. Aha, that's why. That thing doesn't exist, that's why. So, perfecta, perfect. This is why, probably. So, like I said, the saved verses collection has not been created, right? So we actually need to do this on a condition, okay? So here, condition, action output, save verses, reference, exists, is set, okay? Then, actually we can do like, we'll do map list items here. No. Okay, sorry guys, I'm just conditional value, that's right. Do we have that? Yes, right here. So, conditional value. Sorry, I'm just trying to think how we do this. We could show two lists, but there's a way to do this. My brain is not working. I did not get much sleep last night, so you guys know. Staying up thinking about stuff. Let's see. Do we want filter to be our first one? I don't know if we do. Filter list items. Okay, sort unique items. Changes. No, we want further changes. We want to map list items and item in list, get property, reference. But then we want to filter. No, we can do that filter up here. Filter list items, condition. Sorry, action output, save versus exists, right? Is set. Do that. is set, filter items, else don't. That's what we want. We want this else don't. So we do want a conditional value. Yeah, we do want the conditional value. So let's go ahead and say conditional value is that action output. I apologize, guys. This is good, right? We're problem solving. So is set. Okay. If it's set, then true, and if not, then false. And I don't want this to be a Boolean. I want to try to let's see if this works. List items. I want the filter if then. Sorry, I have to get this filter in there. I want to remove it if it's set. Okay, I think I'm going to do another conditional here. Oh no, I can do two conditions. Nope, I want these. Okay, and yeah, that's it. That's it, actually. This is what we want. We want this, and we want this one to be first. Okay, so if it's set and if the list contains item. Come on, dude. I apologize, guys. All right, if say versus is set. Hey, Design Bros. Thanks for joining. Condition. Let's go down to our action outputs here. Reference is set. Boom. And list contains item. Boom. Alternate. Then we'll show. Okay. Else it should be null. Hopefully. We'll see. Okay. Let's do that. This should take care of this null value because we can't filter on something that doesn't exist. So that's why we're getting the null value. We're filtering on something that doesn't exist. So, all right. Well, good news. I have one other fix. If not that, we'll just do this on this swipe right on the action. On the page, what we'll do is we will copy this conditional action and we'll make this on the page. So whenever a user comes to this page, they will, if they don't have this, right, if they query and it doesn't exist, right, that document doesn't exist, we'll create it for them. So we actually have that here, right? My save versus. If my save versus is set, we'll do nothing, right? And if it is, yeah, that's it actually. There. Created my saved versus. Okay, cool. Create document. So if my save versus exists, we'll filter by this. And if it does not, then we'll create this, right? And we'll do it this way. So if this exists, right, boom, true. And if not, then boom. And we'll try to do the same logic where we have this success on the page. On the page load. So we will say we created your saved versus. Okay. So Okay. And then add verse to save. Essentially what we'll do when we actually sign up, we'll create this saved verses so we never run into this problem. But I'm just showing you all of the nuances that can happen, right, in development and how to overcome them, hopefully. These are just small ways to hopefully overcome them. So these no values are always annoying. But yeah, this will be a fun little app. We'll see. We created your verses, nice. So this way, boom, sick. I knew it would work. Come on, Mark.
Good job, Andrew.
There's some flowers.
Dude,
After failing so much.
dude, I'm like, man, my mind is so slow right now. But I
Dude,
was like,
same.
Andrew,
2025.
can you like just summarize real quick,
Yeah,
what you just did
correct.
to make it
Yes, I
work?
can. Okay. So we're querying the verses, right? These are verses for everybody. We want to filter verses. So we don't want to verses that we have seen or verses that we have saved, right? Really, in this case, we're just doing verses we have saved. Maybe in that saved verses, we also have like a rejected list, right? Like maybe we have a rejected list that we say, hey, we've already seen this, we don't like it, so turn it the other way. We could do that actually. Yeah, we could do that. But in this way, we like this John 16:33, we're going to swipe right. Okay, we have saved your verse. So now, as I go through here, Ecclesiastes 2 are better than 1 because they have good return for labor. Yeah, we live in harmony with one. I like that one. We'll do that. Yep, we'll do that one. Have I not commanded you be strong, courageous, don't be afraid? Obviously, Joshua 1:9, classic. We'll save that. Okay, now if we go through here, we should start seeing some of those verses that exist, and we should not see that, John. We should not see this. Well, what we can do is this is on a loop right now. So if we come back here, see this? Before we were seeing that John 16:33. So how to solve that issue? Here, we'll just turn that loop off because essentially what it's doing is we're loading those. We're loading that saved verses at the beginning of the page on page load, right? On page load, we're getting my saved verses, okay? And that's what we're filtering by. So on a loop on the same page, after we've saved a verse, it's not going to refresh that query, right? It's a one-time query that's triggered on page load. So this is working. It just was not working with the loop. And so what we probably need to do is we need to like an empty state after you've gotten to the end of a list, right? We'll probably, the way that Robinhood does this is like they show a little cute illustration and then they close up the swipeable stack, and then maybe like you just get a series of 3 or 4 verses for the day, right? It's not like 20. This is 20. So we could do a few less. So on
So
this
then
page load.
on the home screen, it's not your saved verses. It's just those like a feed of verses that you get every day.
Yep.
And in a different place, you have your saved verses.
Exactly. And this could change, right, from the back end. We could say, like, hey, we have maybe some verses of the day. Maybe they're like 2 or 3 verses of the day, right? And maybe you can swipe through here and read them. And then if you want to save them, you go, I want to save. Boom. And then you just get like, hey, you've already read all the verses of the day. Cool. We'll close that up. And then you could access your saved verses somewhere else, right? Like hey, there you go. Cool. So we're not going to see that John 16:33 anymore because it's already in our saved verses. So boom, 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 boom. End of the page, right? So again, we need something that says like, hey, you ended. So like index equals last. We'll update this to be something else. So.
And then where was the null value coming from?
I don't know where that null value, I don't know where this null value is coming from. Let's see.
Okay.
It says position. Okay. It probably just needs to load. And so it's probably like not loading because once I click on it, it's just updating the page. So one way you can do that, I know that whenever we do queries like this on page load, what our developer does is we have like a, let's see, hiding gradient, yes. So we'll actually set up a page state for the loading of this. So we'll hide this when it's loading, right? After it's loaded, then we'll show the swipeable stack. Okay. So here, we're going to animate this in because we're really fun and we enjoy good user experience. We're going to animate this in. We're going to scale it. We're going to say like, yeah, like, ooh, what is this? No, like 4. Yeah, 0.4. Nice. And we'll slide this up as well. Slide it up like 60. Yeah, nice. Okay, and then we need a page state here. This page state is just going to say loading content, and it's going to be a Boolean. It's going to be true to begin with, right? Because we're going to actually, on this, we're going to update page state. So hide content, boom. And then query here, blah, blah, blah. If it happens, it happens. If not, we'll create. And then down here, we're going to update page state again. And we're going to load content, set value, false. So this should be false. Up here should be true. Loading content, set value equals true. Okay. And maybe you want a conditional builder here instead of the swipeable stack, right? Maybe you want a loading animation or even like this verse. Maybe you have a skeleton here, right? You can do that. And so that's going to, I think what's happening here is that the page isn't updating after the query is made. And so it's, of course, I'll just, I'll redo this. This is very typical stuff. So this, oh, this is, this actually needs to be hidden on that condition. So obviously page state, loading content is false. That's when we want to show this. Okay. Okay. Loading content is false. Okay. Sorry about that. But here it is. And we'll probably do that. I would do that loading state in the final version, right? We'd wrap this in a conditional builder and we would make that condition is loading or is not. And so here, if you can see this, we should get, yep, right there. So there's the loading state and now it's loaded and now it's showing. So before, what it was doing was it was gaining that filter, but it wasn't updating the page with that filter information for the user verse, right? So it was a null value. You click on it, which updates the page, and then you get this, you get the saved verse, right? And let's say, here, let's say these are our saved verses. So we'll say bookmark. And then let's go ahead and create our, these will be, we'll duplicate this. And we'll say sub saved verses. Hey, this is another sort of thing that I'll go through with all of our Oh, nice. Our numbers are finally back up, thankfully, with Twitter. Thanks for everybody joining. Guys, I really do appreciate you guys joining. Appreciate it. But yeah, what we'll do here is we'll showcase our, I'm going to just remove all this stuff. Let's see, content scrolling. We don't need this delete window. We don't need this. We don't need this. We do need this content scrolling. And we'll say saved verses. Below are the verses. Below are a list of verses you have saved. Okay. And again, this could be any content. This could be like, if you want to take the Tinder example, right? This would be all of the people in the list that you have seen and accepted, right? And again, if you did a say versus maybe all seen, right? And then that scene had a status. Anyways, we could get into that, but because we haven't done like the, I'm going to change this to a list view. And then we're going to add in a list and we'll make it a component for our verses. Let's see. Probably want something like this. Nice. We don't need that. We don't really need this at all. Oh, we don't need this avatar. We're just going to, yeah, we're going to remove this row. And on this will be our verse. Alternate. I have some space here, I think. Where am I getting this? Oh, maybe this has like a implied height. Yes, it does. Okay. So let's go ahead and say saved verse. We'll make that a component. List verse. All right. I'm going to say saved as well. Okay. So this is, again, I would say this is best practice. Naming of components. I prefix my stuff typically with like the type of thing it is, right? Or the clarifier of the thing it is. So sometimes I'll do like auth, right? These are all related. All of these are auth related. So we'll name that. And then these are my two main screens. These are my sub screens. We have a card article here. This is actually a card verse, right? So we'll do card verse, or maybe what we'll do is we'll do card verse, right? So we're going to say verse components. And that way we can drag this down here, drag this right here. And this, we're going to just pass in a verse doc. We're almost done. Document reference. Oh, no, we want document actually. Sorry. Document required and a highlighted verse. That's all we need. Right there. And then we can hook this back up. We can say the same thing, right? Verse doc, get property document. This will be the book. So Genesis. And here we'll combine the text. So combine chapter, first doc, get property document, chapter, or we'll do this little, and then get property document again, verse 4. All right, sick. And then I'm going to just copy and paste this. I'm going to say get text combo. Same thing here. Boom. Unknown, it's okay. We'll just do verse doc content. Okay. So this will be our thing. And if we come back here to save verses, what we can do is We can now, I'm going to do a little bit of padding here, one space. We're going to query our collection, saved versus single document, all saved versus, user ref equals to authenticated user. Here, perfecto. So that's one query. And then we're going to just query document from reference here. Highlighted verses from the saved verse. Actually, no. Is there a list item? Hey. Saved verse. All saved verse. Filter. Yeah. Item indent. Yeah, really. Filter list item. Condition is item and list. Document ID equal to. Oh, you know what? Should I use that? We want a document from reference, right? Is that so hard? That should be pretty simple. Okay, let me see. Sorry, guys. I'm going to do one thing. We have 3 minutes. Instead of a document, instead of passing a document here, we're going to pass a doc reference. So that'll be a slight difference. And then we'll just query the document here. So this will be document reference. This will be our document. Single time query. We're also going to query cache that. Component level, query name, current verse. Boom. And then we're going to just grab these from that highlight verse chapter. Verse. Content. Does this all make sense? Sorry, I know I'm going fast. We should be able to then pass this in. So, oh, that's what we need to do. We need to move this query up here. So query, I could have done this all the time. Query saved versus, right? We need to move this up. So we're not querying the single document here. We need to actually move this to the container. And then we need to set this dynamically from those verses, my verses. That's what I was doing wrong. Save verses, see, all save verses, boom, perfect. Yes, and yes. Save verse, no, document ID, perfect. And now we can just do that. This does work. I mean, this works a little better, but yeah, let's do that. All right, so home, click this, go to sub, save verses, sick. All right, let's see that. I think for the hour, may I ask a general FlutterFlow question unrelated to the content of the current stream? Yes, 100%, man. Go ahead. And again, we're getting that errors because we were on this screen and it wasn't loading. So that null value won't ever happen. But Compu Global Hyper Mega Net, please ask the question. Yeah, go ahead. Ask away. Doesn't have to be in accordance with this stream. I'm going to restart because sometimes actions in FlutterFlow don't trigger once you change them, in a certain regard. So, but yeah, pretty cool. Mark, what do you think? Using Swipable Stack, you think we'll get our saved verses? Oh my gosh, looky there. Come on.
Beautiful.
Come on. Come on,
I
we know
like
what
the
we're
look
talking about.
too. It's nice and, minimal, clean.
Yeah, right?
It does look more like a journal, yeah.
Yeah. And then like my idea for this is that you could, save or quote this verse, right? So like if there was a social aspect to this app, which I don't know, right? Like I don't know if we want to, there's a bunch of social apps, but I found that like segmenting, right? And I'll talk more about this in some subsequent videos, but like segmenting your communities sometimes is really helpful, right? Like I post stuff on Twitter, but it's mainly for business, right? Design related stuff, business related stuff, agency stuff, FlutterFlow stuff. But I don't have a, you know, I don't want to use that. I could have a separate Twitter account, but I don't really want to. I want to post stuff that's personal to me. That maybe I don't know. It doesn't need to go out to everybody. I don't need to. So maybe there's a place here where you can quote these verses, and you
Like
could
even
have a
commenting.
yeah, you could comment on them. You could leave like a dialogue around this verse,
Yeah.
what it means to you, and then you could search this app, right? You could go to like John 16:33, and you could see like 100 or 200 people's thoughts on John 16:33. You know, like that'd be sort of cool, like having a open commentary on a passage or something.
Yeah, that would be great.
Mm. Yep. Okay, so Compute Global HyperMegaNet. That's a question. Okay, when it comes to development of web apps outside of general Flutter loading delays, correct. Really annoying, but it works. Finding my application not as responsive as it could be. We build them as at Kaleo, we build them as multi-page applications. So it's not a single page, right? We do build stuff in components. So certain things are, component based, but we don't have like a nav bar on one page with content changing in the middle based off of what the nav bar selection is, all based off of a page state. We do multiple pages. I've seen other people do like single page applications. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Um, when I spoke to Alex from FlutterFlow about that and Abel as well, they were both like, I mean, the multi-page thing, and I only asked them in passing, but I'm pretty sure like the multi-page thing is a little more standard. Um, yeah, I think it's a little more standard. But in like traditional Flutter, actually, like components and pages, they're basically the same thing. They're just like they're routed differently or something. Um, so at least that's what, from my understanding, what Leah said, like more or less. The difference is one has a scaffold and one doesn't. Page has a scaffold, the components don't. So that would be the one difference. Look at that. Two are better than one. Dude, I'm really liking this. Look at here. Oh, we have our last, right?
That's cool.
Yep. Hey, not so bad. Now we just need something to say like, hey, you've already seen this verse, you rejected it, So maybe next time I'll probably play around with this, see what I can do. But overall, I'm super happy with this. So thank y'all for joining this live stream. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Enjoy building and have some fun. So, and Compute Global, yeah.
And thank you, Andrew, man.
No problem. No problem. Really fun. So